Hello, I'm Adam J. Robinson, and I am COO of Steve's Automotive Specialists here in Salt Lake City, Utah. Okay, my background, I have a degree in economics and a minor in chemistry, which doesn't really help me out in the automotive industry. But over almost a decade and a half ago, I started my own sales, training, and consulting company. So for the last 15 years almost, I've been traveling all across the country training CEOs or consulting with CEOs and executive teams, but training sales professionals. And yeah, but what's interesting that is different between me and Transformers is I did it for any industry, which has its pros and its cons, as opposed to Transformers, which is niche in the automotive industry. So I had clients that were software salesmen. I had loan officers at Wells Fargo Bank who I trained, had sales professionals at Adobe, at the University of Utah, insurance agents, real estate agents, all sorts of different sales professionals who would hire me. Steve, the owner, this is actually a great story. Steve, the owner of Steve's Automotive, hired me in 2013 to train his sons who were in the business. So our current CEO, who is Jeremy Smith, Steve's oldest son, the diagnosis, well, I would say that. I would say diagnosis, but that's not right. He was the lead diag tech. And his other son, Matt, was our A heavy line tech. His son, David, and his other son, Richard, were on the counter selling. And I had the pleasure of working with all of them training way back in 2013. Fast forward to 2024, this year, they rehired me again to consult with them and do coaching for them. And in June of this year, their old COO retired because he wanted to create his own company. And I stepped in July 1st of this year, 2024, to be their COO. Yeah, quite an interesting background. Don't have a lot of knowledge of the automotive industry, but know a lot about sales, but in a very wide, right? So that's kind of my history. Yes, that is a great question. And I actually feel like I am a sales snob, is what I would call myself. And I always, when I would train salespeople, I would say, I want to train you so well on selling that you know what good salesmanship looks like and what poor salesmanship looks like. I want to turn you into a sales snob. And I can officially say, having trained for a decade and a half, training salespeople, that I was extremely impressed with Transformers, with Doris and Jen and Bill Adams. They know their craft like there's no one else, and they know sales. So it was really cool when I was there because the first day or so, we were there for 3 days. Was it 3 days? Yeah, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We flew in on a Wednesday evening. And the first really half to full day, they didn't talk about things that were strictly pertinent to just the automotive industry. They really gave us a high view of, a 30,000 foot view of how does true salesmanship look like. And I think if they were here now, they would say salesmanship is not selling. If you're feeling like you're being sold, then you're not doing a good job. For them, what I got out of it that first day was true salesmanship looks like I genuinely care about this person. And so, in fact, as part of our homework before we even got there, they had us all read a book that I've read more than a dozen times. It was called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And one of the key major points of that book is the heart of what Transformers is trying to teach about salesmanship. And that is to be a good service advisor, a good service writer, you genuinely have to care about those you're serving. And that is better salesmanship than anything else that anybody could ever teach you. And so they would have us practice exercises of just getting to know your clients, your customers, genuinely asking them questions about them, who they are, and that dramatically impacts your sales. One statistic that they shared with us that I didn't know about this industry before I got there was the best service advisors in this industry spend 45 minutes to an hour with each client or each customer, which means if you've got, 8 hours in a working day, that's almost about 8 to 10 cars or 8 to 10 customers that you should be working with. And if you can do that, you can really maximize an ARO of, 1,200. Most of the people in there are doing 1,200 AROs, which is really quite impressive. I was wildly impressed. I was wildly impressed with their sales training and specifically the customer service experience that they were trying to create and teach us how to create. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And not to mention the $180 you spent just to get that phone to ring. No, no, we don't have time today. We're booked for 3 weeks out, you know? Yeah. So very much of a no. We Yes. We talked a lot about this idea of bringing every car in and getting them in and out as fast as possible and what friction looks like or sounds like over the phone. And there's a lot of service advisors out there who are answering the phone and causing friction. And when I say friction, it's this, well, let me look at our calendar, and customers are already thinking like, do you want my business or not? Because it sure doesn't sound like you're making it very convenient or easy for me to want to come in there. And they spend a lot of time training us and working with us. What does a good phone call conversation look like where you're not creating that friction, where you're encouraging customers and clients to bring their cars down now or whenever it's convenient for them. It's as soon as that is possible or as soon as that's convenient for you. One of the things I was most on the same kind of vein, what I was most impressed with is they literally have created scripts, Transformers has, for just about every single objection and just about every single topic you can imagine that somebody would have over the phone. And truthfully, even if you didn't take anything out of the 3-day training, you could just memorize those scripts or even just memorize a few power lines from those scripts. That I'm guaranteed would double somebody's sales, period. You mentioned this idea of price shoppers, and they have scripts to train you on how to deal with price shoppers, and they're legitimate, good scripts that have been well thought out and are used by top producers all across the country. We've seen a huge increase, honestly, in our sales. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There's one shop, we call it, Bill Adams really drilled down on one of the afternoons, this idea of what you call as the one thing versus what we call in our company, kitchen sinking somebody. It's like you're throwing them all the repairs possible on the car, all the maintenance possible, the whole kitchen, including the kitchen sink, and they're out and the person was going, I just came in for an oil change or I just came in for brakes. And now you're trying to tell me I have $10,000 worth of repairs. I'll go somewhere else because I feel like you're upselling me. And so Bill has really mastered this idea, what we call the one thing. We rolled it out in July this year. And that shop in years past has done about 2.4 million a year. We've got 2 guys on the counter, 1 operator, and then 8 techs. And we were averaging about $50K a week. Within 4 weeks, we took the shop from $50K to $90,000 a week, all off of just mastering this one thing. Meaning you get the car in here as quickly as you can. You find we're doing an oil change, or we're doing a brake job, and we find just one safety concern or one major thing. And we say, hey, Mr. Customer, while I was working on your brakes, I don't know if you noticed these struts, but they're really in bad shape. Let me take you out to the car. What's up on the rack. Let me show you what it looks like. And that's the only thing we sell them on. And boom, now we've sold them on them. They go back home, we work on their whatever the one thing was. And that has dramatically increased our sales. There's a second part to it where after we have earned their trust, we'll then say, hey, by the way, here are some other maintenance things or some other parts of the system that you need to probably consider repairing. But hey, let's put you on a maintenance plan, or let's put you on a way that we can get all of these done. And now you've got the bigger ARO immediately, and you've got a follow-up appointment in 3 months, and another one in another 3 months, where you can start working on all these parts of the car. And that's something huge that we learned from Bill Adams and Transformers and literally, whatever that percentage is from $50K a week to $90K a week, that's close to doubling the sales. It did it in 4 weeks, which is quite impressive. And when they come in there and you throw the whole kitchen sink at them and every part, they're just like, you know what? I feel like I'm being upsold here. Like, I feel like you're just trying to find things with my car. And what's nice is I call it a buyer's emotional journey. This idea of like, okay, I came in for an oil change, for a battery. You did what I asked, as opposed to saying, hey, I need a battery. And we go, oh no, you need brakes. You need this coolant flush. You need all these other 10 things. And the guy's like, I just wanted a battery. And they feel like we don't listen to them when we do that. And Transformers has really worked on us to say, hey, give them what they asked for. If the one thing that came in was for just brakes, then sell them just brakes and only brakes. Now that you've done that, you put them in an Uber, they've gone home, you're working on their car. And while you're working on your car, you do your full inspection. And now you can come back to them and give them a phone call and say, hey, while we work on your brakes, we noticed this one other thing. And now they don't feel like we've upsold them. When they left the shop, they felt, hey, I only need my brakes fixed. They repaired my brakes. Great. They noticed this one thing. Now it's like you're slowly inching them away along this path of where you want to get them. I use it as a terrible analogy of asking a girl out on a date. You don't just go up to a woman on the street and randomly say, hey, why don't you come out on a date with me? You get to know them, and then you get to know their name, and then you eventually get their phone number, and then blah, blah, blah. And it's the same with these customers. Kitchen sinking them is like saying, hey, a random girl on the street, let's go on a date. Or just find like, who are you? I don't even know who you are. I don't even trust you. And clients are no different. They don't want to repair. I mean, they want to have their car taken care of. They want safe and reliable transportation, but they don't trust you. And if you just repair the one thing they came in for, now you've built that trust, and now you can take it to the next level and say, hey, we noticed this other thing. And so that's one of the sales systems that we learned from Transformers that I feel has made a huge impact on our company. It's really been revolutionary, truthfully. Is it safe enough to bring it in yourself, or should we come out and get it? Absolutely. It does. And it's honest. That's good, ethical business. It's not slimy. You're not doing anything to, twist their arm. You're just taking care of them. You're just listening to them and trying to help them and making it easy for them to do business. I always compare what Transformers tried to teaching us to Chick-fil-A or to In-N-Out Burger. They really have mastered this idea of the speed of service. And the faster we are at getting them over the curb, into the shop, and then out the door, the happier they are. It's unfortunate, but we live in a time of social media where everyone's scrolling along and they have attention span of less than 0.3 seconds or whatever. And the speed of service makes a difference. And now that we have their car and we get them home, they're happy. And we can work on their car for 3 days or however long it takes. But getting them in and getting them out is a really key, the speed of service that Transformers has really worked with us on. Full disclosure, I would give Transformers an A, an A plus on their training. It's extremely pertinent. It's very, very applicable. It's broken down into bite-sized chunks. They give you a workbook that you can follow along with as they do their PowerPoint presentation. There's plenty of breaks in it so that you're not just snoring. I don't think there was ever one time in the 3 days where I was just nodding off. I mean, it was very engaging. The information was extremely valuable. Hopefully, what every business owner thinks to himself is a couple of things. One, is it worth it to send my service advisor to Transformers? And the answer is 100% unequivocally yes. The time you wouldn't send a guy or a woman to Transformers is if you don't think you're going to keep them. If there's somebody that they're not engaged and you don't want to invest in them because you know they're not going to be there, then yeah, those are the people. Don't waste your time. But truthfully, you better be replacing that employee fast anyhow because you don't want to have them around. But if this is somebody who you know you want to invest in, who you know is going to be somebody you want to keep, then taking them, spending the time to have them go there, the ROI, that your return on investment that you're going to get through this training is going to be tenfold at least. And you'll get that back within your first 30 days. So if you spend X number of dollars on an airplane ticket, meals, hotel, and then Transformers itself, I don't know what the dollar is, depending on how far you're far away, say $5,000 total out the door. You're easily going to make up $5,000 in sales within 30 days and have your money back. And then the rest of the year, you'll just see as time goes on, the ARO, the average repair order of that service advisor, is going to go up and up and up, unequivocally. Our best service advisor in our company has been with us for 7 years, and we sent him to Transformers probably 6 years ago. And he is still our top salesman, and he still uses the script, and he knows what he's talking about. It's an extremely professional run organization, hands down. We did that. Yeah. And Doris and Jen and Bill and Fernando will know immediately who's engaged and who's not engaged in those things. Oh yeah. Yeah. I like that idea. I like that idea. In fact, I'm interested in attending. They have a Transformers meeting for other COOs. So as COO of the company, there's another Transformer meeting where we can get together with the other COOs and collaborate. And that masterminding and being able to talk to peers who are not in my state, not in my area, not a competitor by any means, but are my equivalent, my counterparts. I'm really looking forward to next year's meeting for that, for me personally. Because I just started with the company, even though I've been consulting with Steve's Automotive for many, many years, I just stepped into this role less than 6 months ago. So I was hired after the last summer. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. 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 When you have a peer-led discussion, it changes everything because when you're talking with your other peers, they're in the trenches with you and they're facing this exact same challenges that you're facing versus an owner, which provides an extreme amount of valuable information, but they're at a different level, literally and figuratively. They're at a different level and they have different struggles than you. But when you're talking with other peers, and this goes for CEOs in the peer-led groups, masterminds with the CEOs, it's the same for COOs, and it's the same for service advisors. When you can get with a room with other service advisors or other CEOs or other COOs, it's huge difference because they literally are struggling with the same things, and maybe they've overcome a challenge that you are having right now. And to hear from other peers saying, "Hey, this is how we had this struggle, and this is how we handled it," and you go, "That would actually work," versus somebody else who says, "Yeah, I think that would work," when you're like, "You don't really know exactly what I'm doing." And so, no, I mean, I know you have good intentions, but that's no. But with peers, they get it. And you don't have, and you can't bullshit, a peer. They know. They'll see right through any idea that you're just like, come on, that's an excuse, you know, that, that BS, that idea. Yeah, I would go again. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I would go again happily.